Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to ask the question that we're going to discuss: is bodybuilding dead, or are we in a post-bodybuilding world? Before we get into that topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. If you need coaching, I'd love to work with you. Check out the link down below. And don't forget, every Friday I do Massive Iron Live here on the YouTubes. I answer your questions, 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, lately there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of discussions around the word power building. And this isn't a video about power building. I'm just kind of sharing some thoughts, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. Just to set the table a little bit, I've used the word power builder for almost 20 years now, at least over 16 or 17, to differentiate a musclehead with someone that loves strength as well. Not one rep max strength necessarily, but just the strength building process, or someone that is enamored with just hitting big compound lifts for big heavy weight. You can be a regular bodybuilder and not absolutely be obsessed with strength, and that's just a regular bodybuilder. But I use the term power builder not to have anything to do with using low rep sets, not to have anything to do with competing in powerlifting, but because I love the strength building process almost equally as I love the muscle building process. So there's been a little bit of blowback against power building, and that's fair. I welcome the discussion. I encourage the debates. They're interesting. But yesterday, I was sitting around processing some of the information, and something came to mind. The question: are we living in a post-bodybuilding world? Now, when it comes to lifting and the introduction to lifting, everybody's going to have a different experience. A lot of the younger guys, a lot of the guys that are newer to lifting, they don't have the same experience as I do. A lot of you guys entered a world where strength and muscle building are kind of hand in hand. Let me explain a little bit. If you backtrack into the 80s and 90s when I first got into lifting, there was no internet. All the information was basically controlled by a limited number of magazine sources, and everything was really bodybuilding centric. They took the Mr. Olympia competitors and all the top bodybuilders, and they put them in the magazines, and they elevated their programs and elevated their eating protocols and obviously elevated their supplements because they wanted you to buy their crap. So everything back then in my era was bodybuilding, bodybuilding, bodybuilding. I don't really recall a lot of strength training. There were some magazines out there like Iron Man that probably had some strength training articles. I really don't remember because they're not something I found on the newsstand. They weren't easily accessible, but so much of the conversation in the 80s and 90s, it was just muscle, 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 and there was no strength balance. But somewhere around 2005 on my old forum, Muscle and Brawn, and around the internet in general, you started to see strength kind of take a hold a little bit. You started to see strength programs getting talked about more, and people had that instant access, that ability to have conversations, and people were exposed to all kinds of new workouts. You had people talking about starting strength, and you had people talking about Bill Starr, and you had people talking about Reg Park's 5x5, which is a brutal, brutal type of workout. You had people exchanging Smoloff and just talking about bench specialization programs. And there was a lot of talk about strength that entered the conversation. And this was a great thing. It's something that really hadn't happened before. Strength had been kind of on the fringe in the bodybuilding world, that world where bodybuilding controlled everything and the magazines just shoveled you the big bodybuilding competitors. So we entered a new era. We entered a new era in the internet era around 2005 to 2010, and it kept flourishing where more and more of an interest in strength developed, and people were trying new things, trying new programs, experimenting with new things. And I would say it was kind of a post bodybuilding world and the development of a post-bodybuilding world, where we started to not just be muscle heads, but we started to kind of evolve and be a little bit more well-rounded. The old school bodybuilding mindset, and this is not a dig, it's just kind of the reality of the way it was. Because we had a limited source of information, it kind of turned us into obsessive compulsive fools a little bit. We had to eat every so many hours. The body was fragile if we didn't. We had the post-workout window. And we had all these pieces of the puzzle we had to put together in a certain order. And they did a really good job, in a sense, of making us paranoid. You can see it today. Is cardio going to kill my gains? If I don't do this exercise, is it going to kill my gains? The whole kill your gains mindset really was the child of the 80s and 90s, of these bodybuilding centric mentalities where the body was treated as so fragile. If you didn't do everything at the right time, or take this supplement at the right time, or eat your protein at the right time, you were going to lose all gains. If you did cardio, you were going to lose all gains. That's the old bodybuilding mindset, the lifestyle that had complete ownership of the fitness landscape to a degree. Now, certainly you had fringe groups out there that liked their ultra running and their cycling and whatever, but it wasn't something that kind of made its way into these conversations. It was all bodybuilding, 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 and how fragile we were and how we were going to lose gains if we didn't stick to X, Y, and Z protocol. Now, where am I going with this, and why am I talking about this? Well, the kind of anti-power building chatter made me think, what is the average person like that comes to me for coaching? I coach full time. I get to see you guys, right? I am an ultra runner. I am somebody that loves muscle building most. That's my big thing. I love muscle building. I've always loved muscle building first and foremost. People have pictured or positioned me as a power lifter. But I'm not a power lifter. I'm kind of an accidental power lifter. I've coached in powerlifting. I've coached Special Olympics powerlifting. I have an appreciation for powerlifting, but I'm more of an accidental power lifter. I never really took it super seriously. I am someone that loves bodybuilding, that's played around a lot with powerlifting and coached. I've been an ultra runner, and I've been fortunate enough to make a dramatic body transformation. I lost 100 pounds. And I have a pretty cool body transformation story. So when it comes to coaching, people come to me for a variety of reasons: to lose weight, to maybe get into running. I get straight powerlifting clients and I get straight bodybuilding clients. But the average client that comes to me pretty much is what I would call a power builder. And I'm not trying to shit stir here, but they want muscle and they want some good strength to back it up. And they kind of like the big three. They kind of like all the big compound, heavy big compound movements. Now, I have a lot of clients that don't. I have a lot of clients that really don't overly obsess about the big compound movements. That's perfectly fine. I'm not a discriminate coach. I don't really care. I want to help you reach your goals. And no one more than me is going to say the squat, deadlift, and overhead press and bench are optional. We can find any way to get you to where you want, as long as we have a reasonable selection of exercises in the mix. I'm not some hardcore, you only have to do this type of programming, you only have to use these exercises, and you have to use low reps. Nothing could be further from the truth. But the point here is, the average individual, you guys that come to me, the vast majority of them like strength. They like muscle. They're kind of post-bodybuilding. They're not just into straight bodybuilding aesthetics. They like tack-on stuff like cycling or maybe running or maybe jujitsu. I have trainees that are using Orange Theory. I have people doing all kinds of things, even CrossFit. So when I ask, are we in a post-bodybuilding world? I think it's a good thing. I think we're kind of moving away from that OCD, everything is killing your gains, and we have a more well-rounded landscape where people understand you can have a little bit of everything and it's not really going to pull from other things. The body's not that fragile. You can be muscular. You can be muscular and strong. You can be muscular and strong and an ultra runner. You can be muscular, strong, and an ultra runner, and even do Orange Theory and CrossFit or cycling if you want. The body is not that fragile. So when I ask the question, are we in a post-bodybuilding world? Really what I'm asking is, are we in a the body is such a fragile thing world? I think it's a brilliant thing. I think it's a brilliant era. We're more focused on health. We're more focused on being well-rounded. We're more focused on doing forms of cardio, and I hate that word, that get your ass out of the gym, hiking, running on trails, just walking outside with your dog. We're taking a more well-rounded, healthy view of activity, and I think this is a wonderful thing for the average individual. The reason why I ask this question in general is simple, because I would say only about 25% of folks that come to me are just for pure aesthetics. They don't care about strength. And I don't care that they don't care about strength, right? It doesn't matter. But even those individuals are kind of in a post-bodybuilding world where they might enjoy jujitsu. They might enjoy Orange Theory. They might enjoy excessive bouts of hiking or even running. They're not, or even basketball. They're just not as paranoid. Now, one final thought. When we look at the whole bodybuilding world, do I appreciate what the current mass monsters accomplish? Yeah, I'll put in the caveat that I appreciate it. I appreciate the hard work. Look, I appreciated the hard work of the PED users back in my generation, Platz and Arnold and all the guys that use steroids. I appreciate the hard work. But to a degree, where we are now with the drug abuse and how things are on stage, we need a balancing point, right? Because things have gone a little bit too far. So while I can appreciate what's going on stage and their accomplishments, it's not something I find appealing. It's not something I find healthy. And quite frankly, it's something I feel we need to balance with a post-bodybuilding mindset, something that is focused on health and general activity and being more well-rounded, and for the love of God, not being so freaking obsessive compulsive, not believing everything is killing your gains, because the old school bodybuilding mindset is everything is killing your gains. It's all about control and controlling you and getting you in that little box, that paranoid box. So you have to follow their information. You have to lockstep behind them and do everything perfectly, because if you don't, you're going to lose all gains. So you have to tune in next week, next episode, next magazine, next column, and find out how not to lose all your gains. And this still exists on YouTube. Or we can break free of that bodybuilding mindset and enter a post-bodybuilding mindset where the body is simply not that fucking fragile, and we can be what we want to be. We can be big. We can be strong. We can be an ultra runner. We can be whatever the hell we want. And we understand that the body is going to respond, and we don't have to live in this fragile bitch bodybuilding world. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.